The Industrial Development Group looking into the Republic of Congo, a hydroelectric dam. How viable is this project if eventually you do pursue it?
Well, thus far, the engineering group called Jefferson and Green, they've done all the studies with regard to the technical feasibility of the dam. And all systems go, they have approved that this particular dam is viable to build a hydro. And we have engaged a Canadian company which has given us environmental assessment about the dam. Right. And also they have come back to us reporting that it's viable environmental-wise. So what we're busy currently, we have got a consortium of financiers based in London, headed by Africa Power Corporation, who are basically busy with the funding of the dam. Okay,
tell us about the funding model you're going to pursue. You're speaking to this consortium. Which sort of financial backers are you going to have? How big is the consortium? Can you just give us a bit more?
The consortium is basically basically considered about 3 banks who are going to be funding the deal. What is important about the SOUNDA dam is basically that in that area there are lots of activities in terms of mining of iron ore and other related mining activities. And thus far we have modeled the viability of the dam based on the off-takers of the energy. So once you have got the biggest mining companies who are interested in iron ore, then you put that into the modeling exercise. What you do get is that indeed financial as well, the dam is viable. So we're moving from that premise that the dam is both technically viable, its environmental assessment says is viable. The funding model which we have put thus far suggests that the dam is viable, because in that part of the world there's not enough energy basically both for the government and for the mining activities.
Okay, all those benefits withstanding and the mining opportunities that will come as an offset, help me here, because I'm not very sort of electricity savvy. But we're talking 1,200 megawatts, so that's a major project that you're looking to do. Just recently, the Chinese were awarded by the government of the Republic of Congo to build a plant at Mbolu for 120 megawatts. And we know the Chinese have major state backing, but they're only pursuing 120 megawatts to help electrify parts of the capital, Brazzaville. You're looking at a much more ambitious project with a few banks to back you up, not the financial muscle of a Chinese government, for instance. So do you not think you've just bitten off a bit more than you can chew?
Well, I do know about that project which you are referring to, which is, in actual fact, when we are there last week on Wednesday, the minister was going to inaugurate that power station. But that's a different perspective, because in that part of the world there are no lots of mining activities taking place. So you can if you build a dam of that nature, it has to talk to the financing model. Where we are basically, north of Pont Noir, which is about 140 kilometers. As I put it, there are lots of activities in the mining industry, and thus far lots of companies which wanted to mine in that part of the world, they didn't have any other alternative except to say to the government that they are going to be using generators. You can't mine using basically generators. So therefore, the viability of our 1,200 megawatt has got nothing to do with, whether we are comparing ourselves to the Chinese or not. It's got something to do with the fact that, the model we're running is based on, the off-takers who basically are going to utilize the electricity. So the other side where the Chinese are building, they're just helping the government, but it has gotten basically nothing to do with the business model which says whether it's viable or not.
This project at SOUNDA that you're working on has been in the pipeline since the 1960s, it's reported, and it couldn't get underway because of persistent political risks, coups and counter-coups, and sporadic fighting and latent civil wars and that sort of thing. Even if the situation seems politically stable, what has changed fundamentally for you to go ahead with a project that has taken more than 30 years to come to life?
I can imagine that if this project was undertaken, let's say 20, 30 years ago, it was going to be a political transaction, not a business deal, because then there were no lots of mining activities, basically, which were taking place in that part of the world. What has changed fundamentally is the fact that we see lots of mining houses getting interested to do business in the Congo, which basically, as I put it, if you model that, you need to get a business case. And the business case cannot be based on the fact that the government saw a need to build it there. This time around, the off-takers, even before we go to the government, are business people, not the government. So it was a political transaction then, but this time around, it's a business transaction.
Okay, I'm back on the whole idea of these off-takers and uptake and participation in the project. Even if technically everything seems fine and commercially viable, there is another project in neighboring DRC. And that's a project that has the South African government involved, Zaire involved, the Inga project for hydroelectricity. And I think in an environment where there's competition for cash, some investors might want to support that project across the river versus this one. Is that a concern for you?
Not exactly. I know about the project you're referring to, the Inga project. It's a fairly complex, project. Everybody will tell you that, you have got about probably 5 countries, Namibia, Angola, South Africa, DRC, who basically in the past 5 years, they have tried to get the project on the way. And it's not happening because, as I put it, there are lots of political consideration as far as that transaction is concerned. But not only that, the dam in itself, where Inga is situated, is fairly complicated. I can tell you that, the French once looked at this project some years ago, and there was a French writer who said, if God ever thought that you wanted to build a hydro, SOUNDA is a perfect, place. So therefore, it is not just a question of whether you can do the dam, it's how feasible. And as I put it, the DRC is politically stable, and that gives us hope that it will continue to be like that. And as a result, we think that the fact that there are lots of mining houses who are getting keen to mine that part of the world is a cherry on top, and that makes our job easier.